problem? You're a natural. By now I'm sure you've noticed the older models sitting in the back room. Those are from the previous location, and we just use them for parts now. The idea at first was to repair them. They even started retrofitting them with some of the newer technology, but they were just so ugly, you know, and the smell. So the company decided to just go in a whole new direction and make them super kid-friendly. Those older ones shouldn't be able to walk around, but if they do, the whole Freddy head trick should work on them too, so whatever.
Greetings everyone, I'm Kavin Catastrophe, and I welcome you to my Five Nights at Freddy hidden story. Once more, we are gathered here again for another Retro CD Explained video. Our last video did surprisingly well. We learned what Vanessa's actual job is at Fazbear Entertainment, a new power of the illusion disc, and there seems to be a secret security team being formed. And in Security Breach Ruin, much of what I thought was happening seems to be happening. So that's cool.
But you know, like I said, we're trying to track down a good lead right now. Some guy who helped design one of the buildings says it was like an extra room that got boarded up, or something like that. So we're gonna take a peek and see what we can find.
Gregory! Gregory! You okay?
You saved me. You saved me.
Gregory?
In fact, due to Ruin, I'm going to try my best to explain my perspective on the world of FNAF in this video. So, without further ado, let's analyze this retro CD.
Hi, Vanessa. Would you like a candy? Butterscotch today.
No, thank you. Those have 35 calories apiece.
Well, they taste good to me. Okay, I thought we could do something today that will help us get to know one another better. It looks like you've never taken an ink blot test, right? No? Okay. Then I'm going to show you some ink blots, like this one. And I want you to tell me the first thing it makes you think of. Here we go. What do you see here?
A treehouse.
It does look sort of like a treehouse, doesn't it? Do you like treehouses?
I like to sit outside and read.
That's good. Now, what about this one?
A beetle.
Really? Looks like a face to me. That's very interesting.
So, if you didn't notice, Vanessa is again dealing with a brand new therapist. What happened to the last one? We don't know. Well, we kind of do. It has become increasingly clear that Fazbear Entertainment is obsessed with Vanessa. Whatever information she has, they want it. And it is the therapist's job to not only help Vanessa with her problems, but also to learn as much as they can about her, to solve the mystery that is Vanessa.
Learn everything you can about your adversary.
Vanessa isn't making this easy, and Fazbear is unsatisfied with the results that the last two therapists have done. So, what happens to the therapists when they don't get the information they need?
You know, everyone associated with this company gets performance reviews, right? When my sessions don't get results, my reviews aren't very good. If you don't want to talk for your own sake, how about for mine? You don't want me to get in trouble, do you? I could be put in the corner for a timeout.
What the hell does that mean?
Whether timeout means something a little bit more sinister, we don't know. But it would seem that the last therapist has failed in her mission, and Fazbear has again decided to replace the old with the new.
You have failed me, Inquisitor.
Avengers!
This new therapist is ready to do her job, and after reviewing the old therapist's notes, she has made a startling discovery. Despite having 41 therapy sessions, Vanessa has never once taken an ink block test.
How?
Why did Vanessa's last two therapists never decided to give her an ink block test?
I don't know.
Maybe they didn't think it was necessary, but this is why having a new set of eyes can make all of the difference. Those last two therapists were so dead set in their ways, they decided not to do anything different. So yeah, I'm with Fazbear Entertainment on this one. If these therapists aren't doing their job correctly and aren't willing to update, then the time has come to replace the older generation with the newer ones. It's nothing personal, it's just progress.
By now, I'm sure you've noticed the older models sitting in the back room. So the company decided to just go in a whole new direction and make them super kid-friendly. Those older ones shouldn't be able to walk around, but if they do, the whole Freddy head trick should work on them too, so whatever.
So, Vanessa has managed to overcome every therapist so far. Will this new challenger be able to succeed where her colleagues have failed? Let's find out.
Round 1. Fight!
I'm going to show you some ink blots, like this one. And I want you to tell me the first thing it makes you think of. Here we go. What do you see here?
A treehouse.
It does look sort of like a treehouse, doesn't it? Do you like treehouses?
I like to sit outside and read.
That's good.
Flawless victory.
What happened? I blinked and missed it.
So, let's go over what just happened. Vanessa answered that the ink block that she saw looked like a treehouse. The therapist asked Vanessa if she likes treehouses, and Vanessa responds,
I like to sit outside and read.
She did not answer the question. What Vanessa has just done was give an evasive response.
Oh, God.
An evasive response is when someone avoids giving a clear or direct answer to a question on purpose. People might give a vague or ambiguous reply, change the subject, or deflect the question altogether. It's a way of not providing the information that was expected or requested.
You lied to me, Superman!
I didn't lie to you, I just didn't tell you everything.
A secret is another type of lie!
No, it's not!
Now, this does strike as somewhat odd. Vanessa could have simply manufactured the truth, but she didn't. It would seem that Vanessa doesn't like to lie.
This is interesting.
But just because she can't lie, it doesn't mean she is incapable of misdirecting. When it comes to the treehouse question, Vanessa did not technically lie. She does enjoy reading outside, but if you choose to interpret that answer as she likes treehouses, then that's your fault. You should have confirmed if that means she likes treehouses.
Pathetic.
Manipulation and misdirection are a massive part of the Five Nights at Freddy franchise, which is why I don't understand why people get so upset when theorists tries to overanalyze everything.
The drawers have been emptied out. Someone was here. I don't think it was spring cleaning either. No, there was plastic on the floor. Someone was definitely here during the night. It had to have been the client.
Can you confirm it's him?
I mean, they sent us that stuff in the first place with no explanation, told us to scan it, said it would expedite the process so we wouldn't need to program any pathfinding ourselves. It was a budget thing, I guess.
Basically, you guessed.
We shouldn't just accept everything that is given to us, because the villains of this world have literally proven to us time and again that if you do that, you are going to get burned.
Someone may have tampered with their facial recognition systems. We're not sure. They interact with the kids just fine, but when they encounter an adult, they just stare.
Scanning complete. How odd. Your guest profile is unknown to me. Who are you?
I'm Gregory.
Lies! They filthy earth boy lies!
In fact, since this has been happening so often, I'm going to put a pause on analyzing Vanessa, because it is time for us to analyze the creator himself, Scott Cawthon.
Surprise!
So, in order for us to understand the repeating themes of the Five Nights at Freddy story, we need to understand the perspective from the creator himself, Scott Cawthon. Unfortunately, just like Vanessa, he is very vague and secretive when it comes to the lore of FNAF.
Johnny Tight Lips, where'd they hit you?
I ain't saying nothing.
Well, what do I tell the doctor?
Tell him to suck a lemon.
For example, people have been complaining that the novels doesn't match up with what's going on in the games. Scott decided to answer that question, but notice the question that he chose to answer. Is the book canon? Not are the books within the same timeline as the games, or do the events of the books exist within the games? No, the question he chooses to answer is, are the books canon? He responded, sometimes the lore of something can be so crowded that you can't tell an original story anymore. The games and the books should be considered to be separate continuity, even if they do share familiar elements. So yes, the books are canon, just as the game is. That doesn't mean that they are intended to fit together like two puzzle pieces.
I just cranked up my big word machine to 11. Now the city is really going berserk. Everyone is using big words, and nobody can understand anyone else.
Yeah, this may sound crazy, but people actually have different interpretations of what canon and separate continuity means.
You lie! You lie!
So instead of me telling you what they mean, I'm going to do the safe thing and say I'm going to tell you my interpretation on what they mean.
Now, I may not be as accomplished in that area as you, but I am a lover of words myself.
You are?
Yeah, and I got a thing for power. And what has more power than words?
Try nothing.
Right. And I love that.
So, what does this mean? Well, Scott used two important words. One is the word canon. Canon is like the official story or facts in a book, movie, or game. It's what everyone agrees is true in that made-up world.
They are the canon. Chapters that are a part of every spider story, every time. Some good, some bad, some very bad.
Anything that fits within that story is part of the canon, while things that don't fit are like side stories or ideas that aren't considered official.
That's how the story's supposed to go. Canon events are the connections that bind our lives together. But those connections can be broken. That's why anomalies are so dangerous.
The second important word is continuity. Continuity is like keeping a story's timeline and details consistent. It ensures that events, characters, and facts in a story match up and make sense so that the story feels smooth and connected from beginning to end. If there are no continuity problems, the story flows well without confusing the audience.
It runs on hydrogen isotopes.
A few barrels of petroleum should dampen it.
Run, Morty!
Were those not there before? Guess there's been a continuity error.
These people are the worst! I told you, way overpowered.
But when you add the word separate to the word continuity, along with it still being canon, things becomes a little bit more complicated. When something is considered canon with each other, but still regarded as a separate continuity, it means that certain elements or events in two or more works of fiction are consistent and officially recognized within the respective storylines. These elements are considered a part of the established world.
I won't have vigilantism in my town. You'll be rid of me. As soon as I find the Joker. That may not be soon enough.
Despite being consistent and connected in some way, the overall stories or universe are kept separate and distinct from each other. That means that the events and characters in one continuity do not directly impact or influence the events and characters in the other continuity. Each continuity remains self-contained, with its own narrative structure and developments. They both have their own continuity when it comes to their story. Their continuity does not directly affect the continuity that is going on with the other. For example, think about Vanessa's therapist. All three of them is connected in one common goal, to help Vanessa with her problems. But they each have their own ideas and methods to go about doing that. They are aware of each other, but they are not directly working with each other. This is because if all three of them were to work together and they fail at their task, then all three of them would be put in timeout. But if they fail individually, then only one person will be put in timeout. This is basically how separate continuity works. Creators do this so that the illusion of each world that has been so meticulously crafted doesn't fall apart. If one world's continuity is entirely dependent on the continuity of another and they don't match up, then the continuity or the illusion of both worlds becomes broken. Why sacrifice two worlds when you can sacrifice one?
You can stop this. Please, fix this. I was wrong,
You were warned.
I know, but the world shouldn't pay for my arrogance. I read about you, sensed your presence. You're a god. You can undo this.
I'm not a god, and neither are you. Honestly, if I could fix this, if I could punish you instead, I would. But I can't interfere. You, more than anyone else, should understand that meddling with time and events only leads to more destruction.
No! No! I didn't mean for this to happen!
One life, one choice, one moment can destroy the entire universe.
So now that we have a better understanding of what canon, continuity, and separate continuity means and their importance to a story, if we take everything we just learned and dumb it down, what Scott Cawthon basically just said is that the novels and the games are connected with each other but are still separate from each other, and connecting them together won't be as easy as connecting two puzzle pieces together.
I've never seen you laugh before. I don't think I like it.
Everything is connected and everything is separate. If you want them to be connected, then you can do that. You just have to figure out how. If you want them to be separate, then you can do that. You just have to figure out how. Why give us the answer when we have the power to do it ourselves?
This isn't possible. This universe has been canonized.
For example, everyone in the FNAF community agrees that the novel and games are in different timelines because it just makes sense. And since we've all agreed of that to be the case, then that's what makes it canon. But Scott Cawthon never confirmed that.
No.
Scott does reveal that the novels and the games are connected to each other, but separate continuity is very vague. I can't tell if he's talking about different timelines or different stories. If he's talking about different timelines, then the novels and the games don't exist in the same universe, but they are connected. If he is talking about different stories, then they do exist within the same universe. They're just not interacting with each other.
I hear what some guests say about me. Bad things happened in the past. But that was not me. Those were older models. Flawed. I would never hurt anyone.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
So, what was the point of all this? Well, it was to prove that even though the universe of FNAF belongs to Scott, since he is so vague and rarely confirms anything, then anyone can take this universe of his and reshape it in any way of their choosing. For example, we have Fredbear Family Diner, a diner that almost nobody seems to remember, and the missing children incident, where a bunch of children just mysteriously disappeared. It is a mystery of what happened during those two events. Any information we have on it is very vague, and Fazbear Entertainment is seemingly doing everything they can to try to cover up what actually happened during those events.
So while our engineers don't really have an explanation for this, the working theory is that the robots were never given a proper night mode. So when it gets quiet, they think they're in the wrong room. So then they go try to find where the people are, and in this case, that's your office.
Nothing is actually confirmed. But after a decade of investigating, just when you thought you knew everything that may have occurred during those events, Scott Cawthon reveals that the games that we played are actual games within the universe of FNAF.
Wait, what? They lied to us. They lied to all of us. They told us that the whole point of this VR game was to undo the bad PR done by a rogue indie game developer who supposedly made up a bunch of crazy stories that tarnished the brand.
And yes, this does make things 100% more confusing, because now you have to wonder if everything that happened in the games actually did happen. All of the stories within the games could have been made up by some indie developer Fazbear Entertainment had hired.
We know that Fazbear Entertainment has developed something of a bad reputation over the last few decades, and while it's true that some stories associated with our name were loosely based on actual events, the majority of them were total fabrications from the mind of a complete lunatic. Lawsuits pending.
Okay, so now how does this work? Is the indie developer Scott Cawthon? Is he canon? Does Fazbear Entertainment exist within our world? Am I canon?
You wish.
Just like with the canon question, Scott goes out of his way to confirm that the indie developer is just a parallel to himself, and Scott himself is not canon to the world of FNAF.
Phew. Okay.
Good to know that the universe of FNAF is not directly connected to our universe. This was something that needed to be cleared up. I'm glad that Scott Cawthon confirmed this. But now I have another question.
Oh shit, here we go again.
I understand that this is supposed to be a parallel, but because of this move that Scott Cawthon has made, I now have to ask the question, does every Five Nights at Freddy content we consume also exist within the world of FNAF?
What are you implying?
We have the Fazbear Fights book. Suppose we are going by the game's logic. Are the Fazbear Fights book actual books that exist within the world of FNAF? And since the indie developer who made the games is parallel to Scott Cawthon, is this developer who made the games also responsible for creating these books?
You're taking it too literally, or not literally enough?
Not scientifically possible!
Yes, he confirmed that they are parallels, but how far am I supposed to take this? Scott said that the books are canon to the games. They are connected. This means that if the games are actual games that exist within the world of FNAF, then the books that are linked to those games must be actual books that exist within the world of FNAF as well.
God damn it, we didn't think this through. Unintended consequences.
Now, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just supposed to stop at the games. Scott, would you like to confirm if I'm taking this too far or not?
No. No, I don't think I will.
Well, okay then. If he's not going to stop me, then let's continue down this path, shall we? Are the tales of the Pizzaplex actual tales within the world of FNAF?
I don't like where this is going.
Fake campfire stories about what happened in the Pizzaplex?
No.
Does this indie developer, like Scott, also have something to do with these tales?
You go to hell! You're taking both of us there!
In fact, let's go even further beyond. What about the FNAF movie? Does the upcoming movie exist within the world of FNAF? Are people within the FNAF universe getting ready to watch this movie, just like us? Is this movie being made by the indie developer that Fazbear is trying to sue?
Man, shut up, man. You're trying to trick me, man. Put smoke into my freaking head and shit, man.
The games, the books, the tales, and the movies are still connected to the world of FNAF. But are we just looking at it from the perspective of another? Someone who is telling us these events happen, but is not 100% sure. A FNAF theorist with too much power.
What is this? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
If all of this is true, and the indie developer that made these stories has now ruined Fazbear's reputation, can't Fazbear sue him? He's basically lying. Well, no, they can't. But before I explain why, I will have to analyze the story of GGY from Tales of the Pizzaplex, which we will explore in my next video. Next time, we're going to find out the hidden story of GGY, who the indie developer is, and who is the true villain of Five Nights at Freddy's. But anyway, these have just been my interpretations of Five Nights at Freddy's. There are a million of theories out there, and all I'm doing is presenting you with my own. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and remember,
there is more going on here than you realize.